Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. This is BSL Hasuleague round of 16 Group B. Bottom right hand corner we got white. It's the winner's match, I should also mention. Bottom right hand corner we got white, starting as the white Protoss. Bottom left hand corner we have Bug starting as the blue Protoss. I could color swap, but I'm gonna, even though Bug's got, the name's kind of hard to see. But I feel like white is going as the white Protoss, and I should honor that thematically. This is on Vermeer, which is one of my favorite PvP maps, just because of a lot of fun things you can do with Dragoon positioning along those promenades across these spikes of high ground at the cardinal positions, like a little compass of high ground battlement that you can enjoy. I will be curious to see if white once again defended the 2-gate well, but not in such a manner that he was in the really. How do I put this? I feel like white in other scenarios, like 7 out of 10 odds, he would have won the last match had even 2 of his initial reaver shots hit. But unfortunately, instead, he had a whole lot of dud reaver shots. And those dud reaver shots, it's kind of the curse of PvP. It's kind of the curse of Protoss in general, is the dud reavers. As a side note, I do want to mention that I feel like Flash, if you watch Flash playing random and playing Protoss in particular, you'll notice a lot of the pros are like, why aren't his Scarabs dudding? So I feel like he's figured something out with Reavers where they don't dud. Bug, in the meantime, going to get first scout. Let's see if he go. It does not look like he's going to go double gate opener. He's going gateway into assimilator this time. Gateway assimilator. Same play on the opposite side. Let's see if white moves back to a just transitions. Notice, okay, hey, we got a worker in our base. Probably means he's in the bottom left, given the timing of all that. Gonna ignore the probe attacking his pylon, just kind of an annoying thing right this second. I will be interested to see, so what this does open up an opportunity for Bug is to skip initial zealot, but it looks like he's going to build the initial zealot regardless. I think oftentimes when you get this early a scout, what you can do is you can hang around and you see that initial zealot built, and you're still in a good position to get your Dragoon out to deal with it, as long as you don't see a second gateway plop down fairly rapidly. And that gives you that little bit of tech advantage, because Dragoons do much before zealot leg speed kicks in. Once you get the Dragoon count around 4 or 5, you end up with that advantage. Looks like at Nevermind, I was expecting that ramp to be blocked, but it looks like the zealot. First of all, the zealot was built. Second of all, being a little bit lazy. That is the advantage of getting that zealot out, is if you hurry up with it, you can blockade that ramp. Not happening this time, however. And the zealot looks like it got the probe kill opposite side. So things playing well for white. He's up 2 workers as well, as far as the macro game in between. So 1 worker from death and the other worker from surviving, I guess, getting his way out here on the map. 2 zealots built here from white. They're both making the way towards the front bottom left. Interestingly enough, I don't think this is going to be a breach. Wow, instant Citadel of Adun. As far as a follow-up, though, second gateway dropped in the midst of this. Interesting. I think these 2 zealots might be able to breach and find that Templar archives. We'll have to see. I will be so this is going to be very, very interesting. So nothing at the natural. Going to try to shove his way up. This is 2-on-1. And so the Dragoons, and this is Citadel of Adun, is not in a hidden corner. So let's see if the zealots just skip and go for detection. If they just skip and move for detection, yeah, immediately see the Templar archives, which should instigate and might even get some workers on top of it. Not a great reaction there from Bug. Maybe he's just, I could understand that though. Where you're just like, my plot. Dropping a second gateway. Is he gonna, looks like what his plan, and a probe following it up. Sneaking in, sees the second gateway. Interesting play from Bug. He's like, okay, Citadel of Adun got caught. Let's try to transition into 3-gate. I think a great follow-up for white would actually to go Dark Templar himself with the robotics. We'll see. Instead, what the safe play is really 2-gate robotics support bay alongside that observatory. He's going to drop a 3rd gateway himself, so he's going to be able to match the Dragoon count. He's actually behind in workers a little bit, but ahead in supply. But it looks like, yeah, Bug wants to go ahead and go for a 3-gate push follow-up. He's dropping a forge in the lower corner, though. I'll be interested to see if he is going for +1 weapons or if he's just going to try to drop some... He likes those defensive cannons. I'll be interested to see if there's defensive cannons at the natural. In the meantime, we have, Citadel of Adun and Observatory. So I think this might be counter Dark Templar from white, anticipating a lack of detection as far as a follow-up. 2 Dragoons making their way forward. This is going to be an interesting suicide mission. Zealot leg speed being upgraded from Bug. Worker not going to be able to get their way around, so that's actually evening up the worker count overall. White chasing down these Dragoons, getting a few free hits, but now going to have to regather. But this is going to be an interesting play. So Bug transitioning, so Dark Templar were caught, so instead let's transition to Zealot leg speed. And this is a situation where if you go for +1 weapons, because once you have that Zealot leg speed in tow, +1 weapons means a lot on those Zealots. And a defensive, we are seeing a defensive cannon, so it looks like that cannon going to be instead to potentially deal with Dark Templar. So respecting the opportunity of a Dark Templar, but this is going to be a Zealot leg speed bombardment push against White. White balancing the Zealot and Dragoon composition in between, getting some Zealots of his own, not going for Zealot leg speed, sending another worker out just to try to watch it, and now those Zealots just screaming across the map. They have done their squats, let me tell you. Streaming across. Let's see if this plays out, because this is... Fortunately, there's no Nexus needing to be defended. The Zealots stepping up, getting some good damage done. Unfortunately, and they're going to have to evacuate to the high ground. There's overwhelming counts. We do have some Dark Templar being produced, so Bug will not be able to get additional troops up in here, but this is a big attack force now able to breach the main, and there's potentially a lot of workers that could still get killed, even ignoring the Dark Templar. Looks like right now they're trying to engage the army. They should, honestly, the Zealots should just ignore the army and press forward. Instead, it looks like they're going to get annihilated. Dark Templar pushing their way forward. We do have a cannon down at the natural expansion. White still should be able to, with these Dark Templar out in that observer, should be able to get that natural expansion up. I like Bug's creative play here. Just going to say that. 2 cannons at the natural expansion, 3 Zealots acting as wardens. Waiting for that. Yep, Nexus dropped. 3 gateways. Potentially we could see a Dark Templar drop. As far as a follow-up, we do have that shuttle being built and a couple Dark Templar. Maybe a High Templar drop once that Psystorm. There's more of an opportunity for Psystorm as well. Photon cannons galore, though, for Bug. That's still maybe not going to protect these few mineral patches here, bottom left. And also, this is a heavy defense in static D, which is going to... You can see where it's eating into his supply count and mobile army. And I'm wondering if White, after potentially looking at the replay last match, is thinking, you know what, I can maybe take expansions a little bit more rapidly with my larger army supplies in decent positions. Dark Templar making their way across. 3 Dark Templar I don't think they beat the 2 cannons, but they can still park right here and maybe kill probes. And that will still be an economic advantage. We do have Psystorm being upgraded by Bug as far as a follow-up. Maybe to try to negate to get the High Templar out a little bit earlier, negate the cannon cutting into the supply advantage. Somehow supply count's a little bit fairly close to even. Ooh, is that shuttle even going to get the Dark Templar out? No, 1 Dark Templar out. That is going to be it. And that Observer going to be just in the nick of time. So that was a huge resource commitment from White that just did nothing for him. That is brutal, and that is going to keep Bug very much in this game. He is going to be able to see an Archon at the very least. White saturating that natural expansion. A few Dark Templar out again just to provide a little bit of additional defense. Zealots don't like face planting into them any more than any other units. Observer kind of scaling out to see if maybe if this spike is takeable. I wouldn't be shocked to see these Dragoons field forward for White. In the midst of this, a Observer making its way out as well, and might be able to catch this probe being a little bit... So that probe is meandering. Yeah, you can see White tracking that probe. I'm wondering if Bug thinking, I'll try to sneak a 3rd once again. And Dark Templar migrating up to that 3rd could very quickly ruin Bug's day. Observer able to make it to the main. Take a look at the gateway count. We do have 4 gateways up on this side, so there is a production advantage on Bug's side. The Observer taking a few hits, but not getting tracked down. The Observer lost track of the worker to the north. We have a shuttle out for Bug as well. It is empty. I'll be kind of curious what the play is there. Let's get range up. +1 armor upgrading first from White, interestingly enough. Maybe because of Zelt leg speed. The Observer trying to find that worker where it went in that hidden base. Never mind, there's 2 Eye Templar in here. So this could be a big play from Bug. Sneeze commentary. Photon cannon morphing. I don't know, and White has no defense pylon here to the north, so this could be a very big surprise. The Observer is going to find that 12 o'clock. This could be a game-winning maneuver here from Bug. High Templar unloading. White does not see it. Fortunately, does not lose. Well, still another storm, potentially. That could have been a lot worse. Didn't end up losing as much as he potentially could have. He does need to hurry up and get some sort of troops up to the 12 o'clock location before the cannons get built. Yeah, Dark Templar making its way up. The 2 Dark Templar streaming their way to the 12 o'clock. That should be sufficient to go ahead and clear that out. In the meantime, White resaturating. Bug again kind of... I guess he was planning on... He's going for higher worker saturations here, just presuming that he's going to be able to get those workers across. He's got 5 gateways worth of production. In the meantime, second forge dropping, +1 weapons going to complete. And unfortunately for Bug, yeah, as soon as that cannon's up, goes down, and this is with those double pylons as well, that's a lot to lose. However, getting another drop, and that was much more costly. This puts White all in, honestly. So yeah, that was a dead nexus there at the 12 o'clock, but he is down to 25 workers, and that was a huge hit. Bug gonna move out, smells blood in the water. He doesn't need to attack here, honestly. Never mind, it looks like he's gonna group up here to the 6 o'clock and maybe take position for a defensive spike. That was a massive hit for White. Now down a slew of supply. Is going to get, what, 600 resources up here? But I'm not sure that makes... so, and actually in the red for a bit. So interestingly enough, because that was cutting into Bug supply, that might give an opportunity for White to get up back to the 35 worker count before Bug's able to capitalize on the supply differential. So we'll see. Yeah, so you can see the supply gaps closing a little bit. And we do have workers queued up, but that's still... We'll see how it works. Zealots marching up. +1 weapons versus +1 armor just about to finish. More Archons again for Bug. And shoving a lot of this towards the natural expansion. We do have 2 Dark Templar making their way back, and this Observer is exposed. Looks like the Observer is going to be able to pocket out, so there's Dark Templar not going to be a winning factor. More reinforcements coming down from White. Close reinforcement point overall, and Bug able to kill a lot of initial attack trooping, but maybe over-dedicating as far as what's left. And that army able to stop and kill the Observer, but is going to end up losing everything that remains. Still a 10 supply lead, most of that in workers, and trying to grab that 6 o'clock. Dropping photon cannons underneath. The Observer going to slide, and yes, trying to find if additional bases have been built out in the field. And this is another situation where Bug might be able to get an advantage by grabbing a nexus that White isn't able to detect. White starting to move forward. How many gateways? He's got a slew of gateways behind this. 7 gateway count, which is near max production. Also the main looking a little bit thin. Still sitting at 35 as he continuing to build. He is continuing to build workers overall. The Observer actually just pinned on a patrol, it looks like, along that right-hand corridor. But I'm wondering if he's going to think back to the previous match where Bug did, in fact, move into the city, expanded into his opponent. Bug likes these really off-timing, untypical maneuvers, honestly, that kind of played well for him. Observer picked off right there. Does get a good look at the army. White actually expanding into his opponent rather going for what would be more typical at the 3 o'clock. Another Templar drop making its way across. Let's see if White is able to engage this. Honestly, he's still kind of limping around with the worker count. He somehow got an army supply lead. So this actually might not play well for Bug because he's down so many workers. If he drops here, gets a good Psy Storm off, that might cause White. Oh man, what a great drop there, actually. Again, resetting that drop to 3. That might cause white to go for an attack, though, as far as a follow-up. The drops have been fantastic from Bug. Also, I like that Dark Templar at the 3 o'clock denying this. And honestly, Bug now in firm control. Looks like he's going to go ahead and grab the 6 o'clock. He's got 5 cannons. I don't expect that to get breached anytime soon, but we do have a massive supply lead. Only 2 cannons. And unfortunately, these Archons, the High Templar morphing. And Psystorm could have been something that helped out here, but there's a severe lack of Psystorm now for Bug. And white careening in is going to be able to surround this army away from the rest of its support. So getting some free kills, honestly, right off the bat. And white now just crashing down to the natural expansion. And this is, despite what the supplies look like, this is a pretty big army here from white. But it is kind of his last all-in. He needs to win this fight. The Archon's melting the Zealots. And the Dragoon's getting all sorts of damage underneath. Are there going to be any Zealots left after this? Looks like not. So the Zealot's completely taken care of. And this is just going to be Rally Town now. From white to the natural. That's basically how he's got to win this. The Dragoon's now starting to work on these probes. Honestly, should just focus down that Nexus. Third Nexus is building. Nevermind was thinking about walking up into the natural. Has done a little bit of damage, but now he's backing off. With these troops, is he going to go for the 6 o'clock? Maybe he recognizes that he doesn't have an observer. And the Dark Templar are tracking him down. Nice reaction there from white. Third base is coming up. He's got the 2 photon cannons there, but... And he still has a massive army lead, because you got to deduct the worker count here. So if you deduct 25 on that side, the Dark Templar are making their way in. Maybe they can be led to this cannon line. The cannons need to be protected, though. Observer actually able to slide out. Archon forfeits its life in response to that, but now, and it looks like Bug's still trying to hold the line, but again, Bug, he's got a skeleton crew who's trying to make up the difference with cannons, which might be sufficient, dropping another Nexus now to stay 1 Nexus ahead at that 10, at the, what number is that? So we got 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock-ish, because this is 9 o'clock, right? 8 o'clock base. What would typically be the third outside the base. And Bug also pinning white back by just throwing constant nuisance Dark Templar, allowing him with that worker advantage to macro up. Unfortunately for him, that macro advantage might have dissipated here briefly, because white is now basically saturated across, pseudo-saturated across 3 bases because of his lack of worker count, and Bug is down to 2 bases, and well, he's just now getting that 3rd base back online because his main was mined out because he maintained such a high worker count for the long haul there, dropping an additional gateway. White, in the meantime, moving up to the 3 o'clock. So it's interesting where Bug, because he played at such a high worker count, but dropped so many cannons in between, might have kind of shot himself in the foot a little bit, which is, and it basically ended up kind of just the way it worked out, mining out his main, and is now kind of 3 bases versus 3, but at an army deficit. And we do have +1 weapons upgrading in between. I gotta say, kudos to White for staying in this and holding out, considering those devastating storm drops in between. More cannons dropped here from Bug, I think again in recognition that he was just lower on the overall army count. White now staging up to go ahead and grab that 3 o'clock base, which will put him... It's interesting, it'll put him ahead just because of the little bit of latent resources left here. And he will catch up in workers overall building across 3 Nexus if he just stays on top of his macro. And if he can just keep macroing... Interesting, went for +2 armor upgrade over the weapons upgrade. Very interesting. That should put him ahead. This is turning into a really interesting one. Overall, Bug repositioning. He's got a decent sized attack force here. We got at least a control group and some bonus of Zealots. You got that 1 Dark Templar as a latent threat. We do have the 2 High Templar with a bit of Sidestorm them. Nice picking off that observer out here. I'm not seeing a lot of High Templar out here on White's side of the map, which could be a difference here in engagements, especially depending on the quality of those Sidestorms. We got more Archons morphing in for White. Big spread here from White. I think he just wants to wait and get that, make sure he gets that 3 o'clock base up. Bug attacking into him, though. From the south. He's going to try to take a shot across that lower bridge. Workers immediately evacuating from White. He can move them up to the 3 o'clock. But he's just going to try to snipe that Nexus. And it looks like he's going to be successful in doing so. White reminds me of a Zerg player, to be honest. Or a Bug, I mean. It reminds me of a Zerg player, to be honest. Not killing the workers, though. So able to sneak out. White behind in supply once again. Back on workers, but still in this match somehow. Is going to march out. This definitely puts Bug ahead. And it looks like he's going to go ahead and grab that 9 o'clock as well. How are the upgrades? We got +1 weapons, +2 armor versus +1. So we do have an armor upgrade advantage here. And finally, some armies clashing. Unfortunately for Bug, a large portion of his army was stranded and is out of this fight. Some good side storms, though, from Bug over the bulk of the army. The Observer looks like it got picked off. Does White chase? He absolutely should, given the nature of this. He should probably crash into this 3rd. Or maybe even transition, check the 9 o'clock, wipe that out, or crash to the 6 o'clock position. So yeah, he's going to leave some Zealots to engage right there. Is now crashing around, making a way to the natural expansion. Again, because of the math here, is a much larger army for White. White backing up briefly. Yeah, the 6 o'clock base is the base to punch right here, potentially. But it looks like he's going to pull all the way back. But he has yet to grab an additional Nexus in the midst of this. Wondering what caused the pullback there from White. Maybe just wanted to regather. But what this is also doing, this is allowing the weapons upgrades to shift to Bug's advantage. Bug going to end up with +2 armor, +2 weapons. Supply counts again even, but with that 20 differential, that means White has a larger standing army still. Base being saturated a little bit early. White in between. The Observer might have gotten wind of that 3 o'clock. But Bug, now that he's got this 9 o'clock up, with that worker lead, if he can just get shift and saturate, he'll be in a pretty good spot. Also looking at the overall gateway count, it looks like he is sitting at 10 gates behind this. There's kind of a problem last match where we're just seeing 7 gateways out here from White. Despite that supply advantage, it looks like he is adding an 8th gateway here. And Bug also grabbing top left. Checking top right as well. Looks like White might maybe hoping to grab the upper right 3rd base. I'm just going to call this 3rd base from now on. Makes it easier to reference. Overall, White near max supply on 46 workers. Still hasn't gone up to the what's usually like the 70 Lake King count. We're at the 23-minute mark. And Bug removing out might want to go. Is he just going to slip through and go for another Nexus assassination just as the workers are pressing in? It's possible. Let's see if White punishes it this time. Never mind. He's going to go towards the bulk of White's army. Sees that it's kind of standing back. That is a lot of Archons, by the way. No High Templar support. Well, a little bit of High Templar support behind this that is now evaporating. Evaporating? Morphing? One High Templar making its way up to the north. White swinging across. Observer picked off. Bug walking into a superior attack force right here. But a lot of the Archons look like they're getting boxed out behind that doodad, and so not able to get on top of the Zealots. However, he has a superior attack force as far as engagement to the north, so this should be able to fold around and encapsulate Bug. And now White, all of a sudden, with a massive supply lead. And chasing... It's always hard to tell colors with the Archons. The Archons just getting obliterated. This should result in some dead Nexus, considering how large this attack force is left. Workers pre-evacuating. Unfortunately, they're evacuating into the attack force. So they're going to get wiped out. And let's see if White is going to take that opportunity and just attack. Is he going to go for the natural? It looks like he's moving towards the natural. Not sure I like the attack into the natural because that opens up a potential pincer situation. Plus you have the cannon support. So yeah, now Bug engaging from the north. The cannons occupying units from the south. There was just a single Artosis pylon defending that natural expansion, so it's gone. So White now going to be able to careen into that natural expansion. There's GG from Bug, just recognizing he doesn't have the supply to manage it. So in a crazy back and forth Bug does end up emerging the loser in this match, so we're going to go to a third game. I wanted to say emerging the winner, but I said the wrong player there. You'd think after all these years of casting, I'd be able to manage that. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for listening.